on the Route 19 corridor in Oak Hill or Beckley up towards Fayetteville and Nicholas County, you are behind this leading edge. So you are seeing that light to moderate to briefly heavy rain. We don't anticipate any potential for tornadoes in this area. So any areas to the west of this leading edge where we have the brief spin-ups, we don't expect any severe weather. That being said, eastern parts of Raleigh County were under a flash flood warning that has expired. We have a lot of rain and we have a training effect. So we have this rain moving over the same location. Obviously, we are in a historical drought, and this rain falling on the dry ground has resulted in standing water in many spots. So that's what you're going to see as you travel out and about tonight, is the standing water associated with the heavy rain coming down. The only flood watch we have in effect right now is Tazewell County. So once again, here's the particular storm that we are watching close to the I-77 corridor near Athens, heading north towards Farley. And again, we have the tornado warning for Mercer and Summers County. And again, this is until 9 o'clock this evening. And just looking at some of the latest signatures on it, with the base velocity that you are seeing right here, right now, it does appear that storm is weakening a bit, but we have one just to the south here as well, just south of Bluefield. So I'm going to step away for a second, but we're going to stay on the air. I'm just going to move the radar scan a bit because obviously these storms are moving north to south, and I'm just going to give you an idea. This particular storm near Grapefield, which is just to the south of Bluefield, looks like that storm could potentially produce maybe a brief tornado as well. And it's a leading edge, again, of this line that we are very closely monitoring. Now, if you look off towards the east, folks, I know this is not in our specific area, but we have a line of storms here near Martinsville, Virginia, that is moving north. This is a great example of a line of storms moving in the opposite direction of what you normally would expect. But this line of storms likely has some robust winds along the leading edge. You notice, though, it's heading north and northeast towards our region, while this line is heading towards the east. Eventually, these two will likely merge in the eastern part of the Greenbrier Valley. It is possible that when they do merge, there could be a little bit of wind with it, but it will also ultimately transpire into an area of very heavy rain overnight. So while the heaviest rain so far has been confined basically along and west of Route 19, specifically where we had the flash flood warning in Raleigh County, the Greenbrier Valley is at risk for the flash flooding during the overnight period as this line slowly moves east, and this line near Martinsville heads towards the Greenbrier Valley. So once again, we have the tornado warned storm, and we have the rotation very close to Eads Mill, between Athens and Farley. This is along Route 20. And that particular storm is moving off towards the north and east. So just to give you a kind of a reference point with the warnings, as we take kind of a wider view for you, here's the warning right now, and that is heading in towards Summers County with that particular storm. The storm I just showed you to the south doesn't have a warning with it. This is in Virginia, but it's possible that it could produce a brief spin up as it heads towards the Bluefield area as well. And again, watching how this transpires with a Boeing echo line of storms that usually indicates strong winds, and that's why this warning is in effect for Roanoke, but how these two merge as they come closer into the Greenbrier Valley. But again, the initial threat is with a brief tornado and gusty winds, and then following that, you get this band of heavy rain that sits over the same location for a while. Another thing to point out that you might have seen on the Storm Watch 4 weather app is if you see this zone, this triangle area where you have lower reflectivities on the radar, and south and north of that you have moderate rain. Well, that is the radar beam in Charleston is hitting a little hill just to the south and east, and it's blocking some of those echoes. So in reality, this zone that shows very light precipitation, in this case rain, is falling as moderate rain. It's just beam blockage south and east of the radar site in Charleston. So As we go back here, once again, we're still watching that storm, a rotation a little bit farther to the east now, but we still have the severe thunder or tornado warning that is in effect. That includes Mercer and Summers County until 9 o'clock as it lifts off towards the north and east. The next storm that has any potential to produce a little bit of rotation is just south of Bluefield, close to Route 52, and that is also heading up towards Athens. Again, not warned, but potentially could be briefly warned as it enters southern parts of West Virginia and Mercer County and lifts off towards the north and east. So once again, there's the rotation again, and I want to step forward just a little bit just to give you, if you're just tuning in, an idea of what we are seeing with the rainfall. Again, if you live along the Route 19 corridor or up through Nicholas County, anywhere you see this broad area of light to moderate rain, we are not concerned with any potential tornadoes. But along the leading edge of this line is where we've had the spin up. So we had the first spin up, as you can see earlier, that was in Greenbrier County and Pocahontas County, a confirmed tornado by the Weather Service, and we will have more information on that again tonight at 11. And with the second batch heading from North Carolina into Virginia and the southwestern parts of West Virginia, we are having individual storms that have higher reflectivities, and the one that has produced a tornado warning, we don't have confirmation again that a tornado is on the ground. And again, because there's a lot of heavy rain near that particular storm, these storms could potentially be a little bit rain wrapped. We also had the fog, as you see here along the New River Gorge Bridge in parts of Fayette County. So once again, I'm going to kind of zoom in and we're going to walk through this a couple of more times here. Tornado warning, right now the time is 8:44, so this warning goes for another 15 minutes, and it includes Mercer and Summers County. Initially, this storm produced a tornado warning south near Bluefield. Now, if there are any confirmed reports, they will show up here while I'm live on the air. At this point, we don't have any confirmation of a tornado just yet. Just the Weather Service indicated there was rotation, and that rotation is still with us between Athens and Duns as the storm moves off towards the north. But if you are near Bluefield, this next cell moving north potentially could have just a little bit of rotation as well. So the velocity product again showing just a little bit of rotation. It's pretty weak at this point. At this point, I would not expect this warning to go beyond 9 o'clock. I would expect it to expire. And then as we look again, this line of storms near Martinsville, Virginia is heading north and east and will eventually merge with the rain that is coming up in from southwestern Virginia. And that is going to, first of all, generate the potential along the leading edge of both of these systems for a brief gusty storm or a tornado a little bit later this evening, closer to 10 o'clock. And then we get the heavy rain threat and the flooding threat as we go throughout the evening and the overnight period. Now, I'm going to step off here and I'm still going to be talking here. You just see the mouse and as I kind of reference things on here. But this line of showers and storms extends all the way down to the Atlanta area. It's associated with the low pressure that you see on the screen. That low pressure was farther west yesterday, and then of course today moved into our area. But we have all this rain to get through over the course of the next 12 hours through tomorrow morning. Now, this is a front. It's not directly associated with Hurricane Helene. Those impacts will come as we go throughout Friday. But I just wanted to point out that we have several hours through tomorrow morning of heavy rain coming through the area. And along the leading edge is where you have the heaviest axis of rain. And along the leading edge is where you have some brief spin-ups possible. So once again, we have the tornado warning that is in effect for Summers and Mercer County until 9 o'clock. We are specifically referencing this cell. As you can see, the tornado warning does include Athens, but at this point the rotation is north of there. So even though the warning hasn't been canceled south of Duns, I believe that the Weather Service is going to chop part of that warning off very soon. And as you can see, the cell itself, as we zoom in here, this is where the rotation is, and the warning goes a little bit farther south. So this area is clear of any tornado potential, even though the warning hasn't been canceled for this particular part of the polygon that was issued. But from Farley north, we have just a little bit of rotation, and the Weather Service at this point is likely assessing whether they are going to chop off this southern part of the warning, which I believe is probably a good idea. The northern part of the warning, though, the cell is going to be running out of this polygon very soon, so the Weather Service will likely probably cancel the warning altogether at 9 o'clock or extend it. And based on what I'm seeing with the weak rotation, I would expect that warning would likely be canceled and a new warning will likely not be issued to the north of there. But watching this particular cell approach the Route 52 corridor near Bluefield, that's another one to watch. And of course, this warning that you see behind me is associated with a line of storms that is moving north and west from parts of Virginia that will eventually merge with this line and produce an area of very, very heavy rain. So once again, there's the velocity product. And as we zoom out a bit, you can see the extent of the showers and storms to the south, and this particular line of storms near Martinsville heading towards Roanoke as it's going to merge with this particular line. So we'll continue to keep track of this, but if you live in Beckley, if you live in Oak Hill, if you live in Thurmond, if you live in Nicholas County, basically anywhere to the west of where we have the tornado warning, I don't expect any severe weather for the evening into the overnight period, because we're just dealing with a stratiform rain that could be heavy at times and will cause ponding of water on the road. Some of the rain rates that we're seeing, by the way, are, and I'll step off the screen and show you here real quick, some of the rain rates are very close to about an inch per hour. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, well, there's some lower rates in that, but let's see if I can. There's flash flood warning so a flash flood warning there for Tazewell County. So this particular polygon that you are seeing right here is a flash flood warning that includes Tazewell County. They've had multiple rounds of very heavy rain that have moved through this afternoon and this evening, so there's a lot of runoff in that particular area. And I would expect as we go further into the evening that we're going to have some of these flash flood warnings extend a little bit further to the north, especially from Mercer County and in towards the Greenbrier Valley, because all the information is showing that this merges together and produces some very heavy rain. So here we are, the time is 8:50. We have 10 minutes left in this particular tornado warning that is for Mercer County, but moving out of Mercer County pretty quickly, and in Summers County. And you can see where that cell is that is producing the rotation is in the northern part of this polygon. So soon, and it's dissipating a bit, but soon it will be moving out of there. Nonetheless, if you live between Duns and southern parts of Summers County, you should be seeking shelter in a sturdy building away from windows or in a basement as well. So as we go a little bit further to the west and we show you the reports, so this rain icon near Beckley is a report of flash flooding in the eastern part of Raleigh County, where we had the flash flood warning a little bit earlier. This tornado icon is the Weather Service in Charleston has confirmed earlier this evening there was a tornado in Hillsborough, but we are not going to have the details on the rating or the path length or any of the information like that until they assess the damage in that particular area. And the storm complex near Roanoke is producing an arc feature, meaning some very high winds. That's moving north and west towards the Greenbrier Valley and will likely merge with this area of heavy rain and embedded stronger storms. So we are going to see the flooding risk start to develop here across the Greenbrier Valley a little bit later this evening and through the first part of the overnight period. And I mentioned this, you see this arc of very lower reflectivities and a triangle feature. That's just beam blockage. The radar beam is hitting a hill. It's not able to dissect the radar returns south and east of that hill, so it leaves a void. So if you live in this particular area, western parts of Raleigh County, it is raining. there, and there's more rain coming. The rain's not dissipating or drying up as it moves into your area. It's just a beam blockage issue with the radar signature in Charleston. So again, we had this tornado warning in effect until 9 o'clock. You see that cell is very closely starting to come out of this particular box. So it's going to be interesting to see if they cancel that warning here in the next 10 minutes or so. But off towards the south, like I mentioned, we have a, all right, so this particular warning is, let's see here. All right, so that's a flash flood warning, and that includes Tazewell County until 2:45 a.m. We have a very strong echo right there. And then as I pan north, we have heavy rain in the Bluefield area. The tornado warning that is of concern is right here. And again, I'll put the information on here in case you're just tuning in. The tornado warning for Mercer and Summers County until 9 o'clock. I think the most likely scenario once we get to 9 o'clock is for that warning to likely be canceled because the storm is losing a lot of its punch. And if I actually take a look exactly where this report is in Beckley, just a heavy rain report, 1.7 inches of rain in Raleigh County, and that's from this evening. So again, here is the storm that we are concerned with at the moment. Again, a tornado warning, and we have about 6 minutes left on it, and it's moving north. So the storm itself, again, has just a very weak signature for rotation, but the way it's heading is towards Hinton and eventually Alderson. So if you live in Hinton and Alderson, chances are the wind will pick up just a bit, and there will be some briefly heavy rain, and the timing of that will be between about 9:15 and 9:30. I don't expect the storm is going to maintain its rotation, though, as it moves farther north. Let me look at the velocity product. Once again, that's the next slide that I have on here. And I need to pan up a bit because the storm is starting to get, yeah. So this is where we have the little bit of rotation here. The shear is pretty weak at this point, but there's still a little bit, as you can see here. So the area that I'm focusing in on as I zoom in is near True, Farley, right along Route 20. And again, the storm is embedded with some moderate rain. So if there is a possible tornado on the ground, it'd be difficult to see because it's dark, and the fact that we have a bit of rain. So this is the storm that we're concerned with a little bit of rotation as it moves off towards the north. And let me check here the status of the warning just to see if it's still, yep, it's still in effect. So till 9 o'clock. And again, that storm is on the northern part of this particular polygon. So we're probably going to see that polygon disappear from the radar very soon. Like I said, I don't think a new one's going to be issued based on what I'm seeing with the radar. And there's the heavy rain report in the Beckley area. Now, the storms near Boone, North Carolina earlier have a history of producing a tornado. Here's a report, one right here. This is in Blowing Rock. There was a tornado at 6:35 p.m., or at least a Doppler radar indicated. Rutherford County at 4:07 p.m., there was a report of a possible tornado. And as you can see from the echoes here, we have some pretty decent echoes in that area. And those storms are moving, everything is moving pretty much due north and east. So as those storms move north and east and combine with these storms that are heading towards Roanoke, again, we could have a little bit of wind on the front end of those storms, and the timing of the wind in the eastern part of Mercer and Monroe and extending into the eastern part of the Greenbrier Valley, the timing of that would be a little bit later this evening. We're talking about anywhere from 10:30 until midnight. So one concern that you want to have, anybody who can actually hear me out there who's watching, is have your NOAA weather radio on hand, have it fully charged, and make sure you have it turned on overnight in case there are additional warnings that you hear. Have your cell phone fully charged as well, just in case warnings come through. You need at least 3 sources to receive warnings. NOAA weather radio is one that's pretty much guaranteed. Cell phone, if there is wind damage and a cell phone tower is knocked down, you would obviously lose cell phone signal and you wouldn't get warnings on your cell phone. But NOAA weather radio is usually a handy tool and works most of the time. Even when there is extensive damage, you would be able to pick up the signal in most cases. So here's the tornado warning again for the northern part of Mercer County into Summers County. And that storm is just on the northern part right now. And the time is 8:58. So we have about 2 minutes left in that warning. We have very heavy rain to the south, so even the area in the tornado warning is going to get repeated heavy rain as we go throughout the late evening into the overnight period. So watch out for standing water in many spots in that particular area. So, yeah, so there's the warning right there. And then if I go to the next slide, and then I got to pan up again to get the look at the rotation. Yeah, it seems pretty weak at this point. So we have another 2 minutes left, and we'll see what they do with this particular warning. But again, the storm that we're focused on here is a tornado warning that is in effect for the next minute or so. But the storm itself is in the northern part of that polygon, and it's heading basically towards Hinton. In Hinton, you're going to see the winds pick up a bit, and you will see briefly heavy rain as the storm gets a little bit closer to your area. But they have to either issue a new polygon here soon, because the storm's almost out of the polygon, or they'll just cancel the one that expires at 9 o'clock and not issue a new one. So we will see what happens there. What time is it now? Looks like it coming up on 9 o'clock. So we will see very soon what happens. So other than this particular storm, the storm that moved already through Pocahontas County is exited, but this area is going to fill in with moderate to heavy rain. A combination of this particular line of storms near Roanoke moving north and east will merge with the leading edge of this line of storms. You can see that there's some dark red near Spruce Pine in Boone, North Carolina. That's all moving north, and the radar is filling in between this bowing feature near Roanoke that's producing gusty winds and the storms in western North Carolina. So this is a very good indication of a very juiced atmosphere that's going to produce lots of rain. And once we get the heavy rain going, the severe threat is going to completely end. But that severe threat won't end completely in the eastern parts of our counties, and that is the Greenbrier Valley, until about 11 o'clock. All right, folks, so there we go. So the tornado warning is now off the map. It has expired. The Weather Service has not issued a new tornado warning for that specific cell. So we are going to just do one more kind of roundup for everyone that's just tuning in. We have a line of storms from Bluefield down towards western North Carolina. The storms have been moving over the same location, so we have reports of standing water in spots in Tazewell County where flash flood warnings are in effect. I expect that Mercer County, Monroe County will see heavy rain develop here later tonight, so there's a flooding threat where I'm circling here from Bluefield up towards Lewisburg. The severe threat, we just had the tornado warning expire in Summers County and Mercer County. That storm is weakened as it moves north. I don't think it's going to pulse up again because it's moving into more of a stable environment towards Hinton and Meadow Bridge. Yes, it's going to rain briefly hard and start to, you'll hear a little bit of wind, but I don't think it's going to pulse up and produce a tornado at this point. But these storms to the south, we are going to watch for the rest of the evening as they potentially could, along the leading edge, eastern Mercer, Monroe, into the eastern Greenbrier Valley, produce a tornado. So we will continue to follow the trends this evening and, of course, bring you the latest information tonight at 11 o'clock. That's it for now. We are back to regular programming, and if other storms develop that produce tornadoes, we will break into programming and let you know.